Our story today begins beneath the silver hush of a medieval night. A night lit softly by the quiet glow of the moon. The moonlit village. Our story today begins in a small riverside village tucked deep within the folds of rolling medieval hills. It is the kind of village where stone cottages were thatched roofs like warm blankets, where cobblestone paths twist like gentle streams, and where time, seen from the outside, seems to move at half its usual pace. The air tonight is cool and velvety, drifting through the branches of sleepy apple trees, rustling their leaves with a soft, whispering lullaby. A gentle breeze glides down from the hills, carrying with it faint scents of lavender and fresh earth. And as it moves through the cottages, it picks up the warm aroma of hearth fires, crackling softly inside each home as families settle into quiet dreams. But at the very edge of the village, just beyond the last lantern, where the path opens into a wide, moonlit clearing, there stands a humble pottery hut. Its wooden door sits slightly ajar, and through the narrow opening spills a faint, golden glow, warm like a small sun kept safe inside. And though the night is still, there is a soft, steady rhythm coming from within the hut. Whir, whir, the turning of a potter's wheel. The potter at work inside this small hut, warmed by a clay brick hearth. A lone potter sits at his wheel. His sleeves are rolled to the elbow, revealing strong but gentle arms, dusted with clay. His hands broad, steady, patient-tressed around a mound of cool, damp earth that he shapes with the slow care of someone who has spent a lifetime listening to the language of clay. The moonlight spills through the round window overhead, falling across his shoulders in a silver ribbon. It mingles with the orange glow of the lantern beside him, creating a quiet, dreamlike gold that dances softly around the room. His wheel made of wood, smoothed by years of U-spins, slowly beneath his feet. It is powered by a simple treadle, a design used in 13th century workshops, a rhythm as old as medieval craft itself. Each press of his foot sends a gentle hum through the hut. Whir, 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 whir. The kind of sound that settles into the bones, calming, steady, ancient, like a lullaby crafted from wood and earth. He dips his fingers in a small bowl of water, and the clay welcomes the touch with a soft, velvety sigh. It yields beneath his hands, rising and rounding, becoming something beautiful without a single hurried moment. In medieval belief, vessels shaped at night held gentler spirits, spirits soothed by moonlight, spirits that brought calmness into the homes where these pots would one day live. And so the potter prefers the night. He says the clay listens better under the moon. He says the wheel hums sweeter. He says that the world itself becomes quiet enough for a pot to find its shape. The atmosphere of the hut smells of warm earth, faint ash, and the soft sweetness of drying clay. Above the potter hangs a string of herbs: lavender, sage, chamomile, drying slowly in the warmth of the hearth. They sway gently whenever a breeze wanders through the hut, tiny movements that match the rhythm of the spinning wheel. In the fireplace, a small log shifts with a soft crackle, pop, crackle, sending little sparks of warm light onto the walls. The shadows it casts move like slow dancers, graceful and peaceful, swaying to the silent music of the night. A clay jug sits warming near the fire, filled with honeyed milk. The potter takes small sips now and then, not to wake himself, but to savor the comfort that comes with working in the silent hours while the world sleeps. Outside, an owl hoots once. A gentle, distant note, not disturbing, just part of the night's soft tapestry. The clay takes shape with every slow, steady spin of the wheel. The potter's hands guide the clay upward. It rises like the trunk of a young tree, then softens into a bowl, then narrows again before blossoming outward like a flower seeking the moon. The potter breathes slowly, deeply, his breath matching the rhythm of his hands. He hums a soft tune, barely more than a whisper, a song his grandmother taught him when he was a child sitting by the riverside. It speaks of calm waters and quiet hills, of lanternlit nights and the gentle rustle of barley fields. The clay responds to his voice, shaping itself with peaceful obedience. Every few minutes, he brushes a thin trail of water down the rising vessel. The water's coolness glides over the surface, leaving behind tiny glimmers of reflected light. The lantern's glow shimmers against the wet clay, as though a tiny moon is trapped inside it. The old belief in this village. Many people still whisper the ancient belief. Clay-shaped under moonlight carries the spirit of the night. Not a spooky spirit, but a gentle one. A calming presence. A spirit of quiet, of slowness, of soft dreams. The potter believes it too. He shapes each vessel with gratitude, as though every bowl and cup is a small gift offered back to the night itself. Tonight, as he works, he murmurs, "Gentle spirits, settle here. Rest in the clay. Bring peace to the hands that will one day hold this pot." And the night seems to listen. The breeze softens. The leaves hush. The world grows just a little quieter, as though leaning closer to watch the pot take form. The potter's hands move with the same patience as the turning moon above him. Slow, steady, circling, guiding, as though the clay is an extension of the night itself. He leans closer, his breath warm against the cool surface of the vessel. His fingers glide over it like a gentle river shaping a smooth stone. Each pass is deliberate, unhurried, inviting the listener, you, to fall into the rhythm. Whir, whir, whir. The wheel continues its quiet lullaby. Outside, the wind has calmed even further, settling into a soft, steady drift. It brushes against the wooden slats of the hut with a faint hum, almost as though the village itself is sighing in contentment, half asleep under its blanket of moonlight. The potter's quiet thoughts, the potter's mind, drifts as he works. A slow, drifting stream of memories and soft reflections. He thinks of the first time he touched clay as a child. How the village elder, a potter himself, placed a small ball of earth in his hands and whispered, "Clay remembers kindness." A curious idea, yet one that stayed with him every day since. He believes every pot carries the quiet energy of the hands that formed it, their patience, their gentleness, their care. So he works at night, when the world is peaceful, when thoughts move slowly, when kindness is easy to offer. He often imagines the families who will one day hold the pot he's shaping. A mother pouring warm broth into it on a cold winter evening. A child eating berries from it in the bright spring sun. An elder using it to store herbs that calm aching joints. The potter pictured these scenes, and his heart softens further. Every vessel, he believes, is a quiet wish for someone's comfort. The breeze through the window, the round window above the wheel, lets in a soft, cool breath of night air. It drifts down in a thin, gentle ribbon, touching the potter's cheek, then gliding to the clay, where it cools, tiny droplets of water that glimmer like morning dew. The night air carries faint sounds of the distant river, soft flowing water, pebbles clicking beneath the current, and occasionally the quiet splash of a fish stirring in the dark. These sounds mix with the hum of the wheel, creating a soothing harmony, old as medieval life itself. The potter closes his eyes for a moment, just listening. His hands continue to move, guided more by instinct than sight. The bowl rises a little taller, curving like a crescent moon, its walls thin and delicate, yet strong enough to hold warmth, stories, even silence itself. The hearth's gentle warmth, the small hearth at the back of the hut, glows a soft, sleepy orange. Its flames are not loud or fierce, just a low, crackling comfort that warms the air in steady waves. A piece of wood settles with a soft CRK's RK as the flames shift and curl around it. Little pops echo lightly, almost like the quiet applause of spirits who approve of the night's work. Warm light ripples across the potter's face, painting his features in gold and shadow. It dances across shelves lined with finished pots, some small, some tall, some painted with delicate medieval patterns, spirals, vines, simple flowers, symbols of protection and peace. Every pot has a story. Every pot holds a piece of night. The clay's secret glow as the vessel turns beneath his hands. The lantern's flame flickers slightly. The light catches in the sheen of the wet clay, making it glow softly as though holding its own tiny moon within. The potter smiles, a small, quiet smile that barely touches his lips but warms his entire expression. He murmurs, "Ah, the moon has chosen you tonight." He believes, like many in the village, that sometimes the moon blesses a particular piece, filling it with a little extra calm, a little extra peace. Not magic, exactly. Just a gentle blessing that settles into the clay and stays there for years. This pot, the one rising beneath his hands, has that glow, a faint shimmer, a soft silver breath, as though the moon whispered into it. The lantern's soft sway, a small breeze moves through the doorway, and the lantern, hanging from a wooden beam, sways ever so slightly. The flame inside it tilts, elongates, then steadies again. The shadows pass over carved wooden tools, rows of brushes, small jars of pigment, and a collection of river stones used to smooth finished pots. Each object, though simple, is cherished. Everything has its place. Everything as touched gently. This is a hut where nothing is hurried, where time is allowed to stretch and breathe. A night of stillness. Far above the hut, the sky is a velvet expanse dotted with softly glowing stars. They shimmer faintly as though humming their own lullabies. Medieval villagers believed that on quiet nights like this, when the moon was bright and the stars unshaken by wind, one could hear the hush of heaven. Not voices, not music, just a feeling, a calmness that wrapped itself around the world like a warm cloak. Inside the pottery hut, that hush feels especially strong. The clay cooperates easily. The potter's hands move without struggle. The wheel's rhythm never falters. Everything is soft, peaceful, as though the night itself wants this pot to be born. Finishing the shape finally, with a long, slow exhale, the potter lifts his hands from the clay. The vessel stands tall, smooth, symmetrical, gleaming softly in the lantern light. He lets the wheel spin a little longer, slowing on its own, drifting peacefully until it comes to a natural, gentle stop. Whir, whir, whir. Silence settles in its place, warm, full, comforting. The potter rests his hands on his lap and listens to the quiet he created. A quiet shaped from moonlight, breath, and slow, patient love. A moment of stillness with the pot safely resting. The potter returns to his stool and eases down onto it with a soft sigh. His body relaxes as though letting go of hours of gentle, focused labor. His shoulders soften. His hands settle in his lap. His breath slows, falling into the same quiet rhythm as the hut around him. For a moment, he does nothing, just listens to the quiet hum of cooling clay, to the crackle of a small ember shifting in the hearth, to the distant murmur of the night river. Every sound feels part of the same soothing melody, a melody meant not to be heard, but felt deep in the chest, where peace gathers like warm water. He closes his eyes, and in the darkness behind his eyelids, he sees the pot he just shaped, still spinning, still glowing, still full of softness. A whisper of memory as the potter rests. A memory drifts toward him, a gentle echo from years ago. He remembers a night much like this one, when he was still an apprentice and his hands were clumsy, eager, uncertain. He had struggled to center the clay, a simple yet essential skill. Every time he pressed down, the clay wobbled, tilting off balance, sliding from his grasp. The elder potter had watched quietly, his eyes soft, his smile patient. At last, the elder placed a steadying hand on the boy's trembling shoulder and whispered, "Don't force the clay. Just breathe with it." The boy, rigid, full of frustration he didn't know how to name, blinked in confusion. But the elder took a piece of clay, placed it on the wheel, and said, "Clay is like the moon. It does not respond to strength, only to calm." He pressed his foot to the treadle, and the wheel spun. The elder's hands lowered, not with power, but with serenity. His fingers moved in slow circles, following the clay's natural rhythm rather than imposing one. The boy had watched, spellbound, as the clay rose like a quiet miracle. Now, years later, the potter smiles at the memory. He has never forgotten that lesson. It has become a way of life, a way of breathing, a way of listening to the world without rushing it. The night deepens outside. The moon has climbed higher, painting the village in a brighter silver glow. The apple trees cast gentle shadows across the cobblestones, their leaves whispering faintly as the breeze drifts through their branches. In the distance, the soft, rhythmic croaking of nighttime frogs adds a low, soothing undertone to the night's soundscape. A few fireflies flash their tiny lanterns among the grass near the hut, sparkling notes of gold against the calm blue of the night. The potter watches them through the open doorway, his eyes quiet, soft, thoughtful. He loves these hours, these moments when the world feels slow enough that every small detail becomes a tiny piece of wonder, a sip of warmth. He stands, stretching gently, not hurried, not tense, just allowing his body to lengthen like a cat waking from a nap. Then he walks to the small jug near the hearth and pours the rest of his honeyed milk into a clay cup he made years ago. The cup, smooth and sturdy, fits perfectly into his hands. He takes a slow sip. The milk is warm, sweet, comforting. It sends a gentle warmth spreading through his chest, down his arms, into his fingertips. He sighs softly, the sound warming the air just as the milk warms him, preparing the clay for tomorrow when the potter returns to the wheel. He does not sit back down. He kneels beside a large wooden trough filled with fresh clay. The clay rests under a damp cloth, kept soft and cool, so it will be ready for the next night's shaping, and inhales the earthy fragrance within, a deep, grounding scent that feels like breathing in the very heart of the earth. He presses his hands into the clay, letting it mold gently around his skin. It is soft, cool, yielding, the perfect beginning for tomorrow's work. He folds it slowly, pressing out air bubbles, kneading it with patient, steady motion. This part of pottery, the preparation, is often overlooked, but it is the foundation of everything. And he treats it with the same calm reverence as shaping the pot itself. His hands sink into the clay, drawing strength from its firmness, drawing peace from its softness. The clay in the trough folds beneath his palms with a rhythm that mirrors the night, slow, steady, grounded. Each press of his hands drawing out the last remnants of trapped air and blending the clay into a smooth, unified weight. This process, called wedging, was essential in medieval workshops. It prepared the clay for the wheel, ensuring each vessel would rise straight and strong and true. But to the potter, wedging was more than a practical task. It was a meditation, a slow kneading of the earth that matched the kneading of tension from his own body. He leans his weight forward, gently, pressing the clay in long, sweeping motions, a quiet dance between man and earth. The clay gives way softly, with a faint, satisfying resistance, like dough that has just begun to warm under gentle hands. The potter breathes slowly. Each breath grows deeper, quieter, calmer, until it is hard to distinguish whether the clay is settling into his rhythm or he into the clay's. The weight of the night, the hut is warm, but not hot. A perfect balance of hearth glow, moonlit coolness, and the faint kiss of night breeze. It wraps around him like a woolen cloak, not heavy, but soft, comforting, filling the room with the same calm felt just before drifting into sleep. Outside, the village is completely still now. The baker's oven is cold. The blacksmith's hammer rests in its corner. Even the wandering night cat, a fluffy, striped creature with curious eyes, has settled on the steps of someone's doorway, tucked between pieces of firewood, dozing deeply. The potter smiles at the quiet. This is the hour he loves most, when even the stars seem to breathe slower. The sound of the night river, he pauses his kneading and tilts his head toward the open doorway. There it is, the soft murmur of the river that runs behind the village. A medieval river was everything: a source of water, a place to wash clay, a lifeline for crops, a home for fish, a whispering companion. To solitary workers like the potter, tonight, its voice is especially gentle. A low, constant she, as though the river is telling the world to rest, to let go, to drift. The sound weaves through the open doorway, touching the clay, touching the clay, touching the potter's breath. He closes his eyes for just a few seconds, letting the river's rhythm pull him deeper into calm. Tools at rest. The potter rises slowly and walks to the tool bench, a sturdy table built by his grandfather, its surface marked with years of craft. On the bench lie his tools, wooden paddles smoothed like river stones, wire cutters wrapped in braided twine, fine brushes made from horsehair, tiny carvers crafted from antler bone, a polishing stone passed down for generations. He runs his fingers lightly across them, not to use them, just to feel the memory they hold. Each tool has shaped hundreds of vessels. Each tool has absorbed countless nights of patient work. Everything in the hut has its rhythm, its ritual, its moment. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is loud. The kill outside, the potter steps outside for a breath of fresh air, letting the night coolness settle onto his skin. A short walk from the hut sits the village kill, a dome of clay and stone built into the earth itself. Its arched opening faces the riverbank, where firewood is stacked neatly in rows. He runs his hand along the kill's outer wall. It is cool now, but tomorrow, filling the air with heat and a faint mineral scent as the vessels undergo their transformation. Medieval pottery firing was unpredictable. Every piece inside was subject to the whims of flame and air, and yet the potter never feared the kill. He trusted fire the way he trusted clay and moonlight and the quiet teachings of the night. He bends down, inspects the woodpile, and gathers a few small split logs to take back inside. Not to burn them, just to prepare for tomorrow. He balances them in his arms and looks up at the sky. The moon is bright enough to cast his shadow along the grass. It stretches long and thin, reaching toward the river as though trying to join it. The air smells of damp grass cool stone, and the faintest hint of rosemary from the garden of a nearby cottage. He breathes deeply. The night tastes clean, ancient, gentle, returning to the wheel, back inside. He sets the wood down and glances at the wheel. It sits still and silent now, its purpose fulfilled for the night. The last bits of clay cling to its center in soft, lopsided ridges, the remnants of shaping, like the last strokes of a paintbrush. The potter dips a cloth into a bucket of water and wipes the wheel clean. The cloth glides over the wood with slow, circular motions, echoing the spinning rhythm from earlier. Each wipe is soothing, a gentle ritual that closes the day's work with respect. The water in the bucket ripples faintly, catching reflections of the lantern flame and tossing them gently against the wooden sides. He rinses the cloth and hangs it on a peg near the hearth where it will dry by morning. Then he rests both hands on the wheel's edge, leaning slightly, feeling the coolness of the wood. "Thank you," he whispers, not loudly, barely more than breath. A small gratitude for another night of work and another vessel born from silence. The quiet gratitude of craft. There's a saying in the village: a potter's heart is shaped by the work of his hands. He thinks of that now as he gazes around the hut. The shelves of drying clay, the soft golden lantern glow, the peaceful hush of the night. He wonders if perhaps his own heart has become like a vessel, rounded by patience, hollowed for peace, hardened only in the way that gives strength without losing softness. He thinks of all the nights he worked by this same gentle glow, the wheel humming beneath his feet, the clay rising slowly between his palms, and he feels the familiar warmth of gratitude spreading through him, a warmth that settles deep like embers beneath ash. And as you continue to breathe softly, slowly, feeling the weight of the day melting away like warm clay beneath gentle hands, the potter's world settles even deeper into its quiet, moonlit rhythm. Outside, the village remains still. Only the faintest echo of a distant owl's call rises, then drifts away again, carried on a cool, silvery breeze. It carries no urgency, no tension, only the slow, ancient calm of a medieval night, where time itself seems to loosen its grip. Inside the little workshop, the potter lifts the now-formed bowl from the wheel, fingertips pressing lightly against the still damp surface. The clay is warm where friction shaped it, cool where untouched, creating a tender balance of temperatures that soothes their tired hands. They place the bowl gently onto the smooth wooden board beside them, one of many boards that line the workbench. Each holds a vessel shaped not for grandeur, but for living, for holding water, honey, small comforts of medieval life. And among villagers long ago, there was a quiet belief, hardly spoken aloud, that nighttime pottery carried a special softness. That the moon, with her gentle pull on sea and tide, also lent a quieter energy to the clay, calmer, and brought a sense of peace to any home where they were used. The potter has always loved that thought. They turn back to the wheel, dipping their hands once again into the bowl of water. The sound is subtler, delicate swish, a cool ripple, a tiny splash. It echoes softly in the moonlit stillness. They press their foot to the pedal, and the wheel turns again. A slow, steady whir, a hush, like a whisper, a rhythm perfectly matched to the listener's breath. The clay rises beneath their palms, slowly, patiently, shaped by nothing more than pressure, intention, and the soft glide of wet hands. And through the open window, the breeze carries the scent of nighttime, earth-damp soil. Wild thyme crushed under the paws of wandering night animals, and the faint wood smoke drifting from hearths where families have already fallen asleep. The potter's own hearth glows quietly behind them, embers shimmering like tiny, drowsy, low, steady, the sort of warmth that doesn't command attention, but simply makes the air feel alive in a safe, tender way. Above, the rafters creak not in alarm, but in the slow, familiar settling of old wood. The cottage has stood for generations, and it knows the rhythms of every season. It knows how wind moves through cracks in the stones. It knows the sound of rain before it arrives, and it knows the potter's nighttime rituals so well that every beam and plank seems to exhale in harmony with the spinning wheel. The potter begins shaping the next vessel, a tall, slender jug, their thumbs pressed lightly into the center. Their palms rise with the motion of the clay, spiraling upward in a slow dance. The wheel hums beneath a constant, soothing pulse, and you, listening, begin to feel your own breathing aligning with that same quiet rhythm. Each inhale as the clay rises, each exhale as the wheel turns. The potter smiles, just a subtle curve of the lips, because this moment, this peace, is something they cherish. In daylight, the workshop is filled with voices. Villagers arriving with orders, children asking questions, traders passing through with tales of distant towns. But at night, it is just them. Them, the clay, the wheel, the moon. A small universe where everything moves at the speed of comfort. Once, an elderly traveler had passed through the village and spoken of a belief held in a faraway land that the moon, when waxing, could whisper inspiration to artisans if they worked in silence, if they listened closely enough. The potter had never known whether to believe the tale fully. But on quiet nights like this, when the moon's light seems especially bright, and the clay seems especially willing to take shape beneath their hands, the memory returns, and perhaps the traveler wasn't entirely wrong. The potter smooths the rim of the jug, fingertips gliding in a slow, circular motion. The motion is hypnotic, repetitive, endlessly gentle. Smoothness into harmony. Then, as they always do at this stage, they whisper a tiny blessing under their breath. It is an old habit passed down from their grandmother, words not spoken for magic or superstition, but as a promise to treat their craft with patience and kindness. The whisper mixes with the turning wheel, becoming barely more than a breath. When the jug is formed, the potter pauses, allowing the wheel to slow. Slower, even slower, even slower, until the spinning fades into stillness. The clay glistens under the lantern light, its surface shining like soft satin. With tender care, they lift it from the wheel, holding it as one might hold something fragile but deeply cherished. They place it on the board beside the others, adjusting its position slightly so it dries evenly. Then, for a moment, they simply stand there, listening to the night, breathing with it, existing in its quiet embrace. A small moth drifts lazily toward the window, its wings catching the moonlight. The potter watches it flutter, soft, aimless, gentle, and feels a warm calm settle in their chest. The village at night is a world made of whispers. The workshop, a world made of slow rhythms. The potter, a guardian of peaceful craft. They turn toward the window, leaning their hands on the wooden sill. Outside, the field beyond the cottage glows faintly silver, dew beginning to gather on the tips of grass. A faint mist hovers low to the ground, curling around stones and fence posts like a sleepy cat settling in for the night. The potter breathes in the cool air, and for a moment, the line between their breath and the breeze feels thin, connected, shared. Then they return to the wheel, but not to work. This time, they sit beside it, letting their hands rest loosely in their lap. Not every moment needs to be filled with shaping and spinning. Some moments are meant to be still, to listen, to dream. And so they close their eyes for a brief moment, welcoming the hush of the night as though it were an old friend. Tonight, the village sleeps peacefully. Tonight, the moon shines kindly. Tonight, every vessel carries the quiet blessing of soft hands and steady breath. And you, drifting deeper, may begin to feel as though you are right there in that quiet workshop. Feet warm by the hearth, hands resting, breath slow, eyes growing heavy. Letting the wheel's fading hum lull you inward. Like a lullaby shaped from clay and moonlight, the potter remains seated, still and quiet, letting the stillness of the hut embrace them completely. Outside, the breeze stirs only the lightest edge of the curtain at the window, brushing faintly across the wooden floor. Every sound, the creak of the rafters, the soft crackle of embers, the distant flow of the rivers, a thread weaving the night's gentle tapestry. The moon drifts slightly across the sky, tilting its silver light through the round window. It touches the potter's hands, the smooth curves of the vessels, the tools resting on the shelves. The light seems to hum softly against the clay, as if whispering, "Rest. Everything is as it should be." The potter breathes slowly, deliberately, inhaling the cool night air and exhaling the warmth of the hearth. They feel each breath like a pulse connecting the room, the night, the world beyond. And as you listen, your own body begins to fall into that same rhythm, steady, gentle, unhurried. The potter's gaze drifts over the drying shelves, lined with bowls, jugs, and cups. Each holds a memory of care, a touch of moonlight, a whisper of patience. They remember the countless nights spent shaping clay by hand, learning the rhythm of the wheel, the give of the clay, the weight of water, the hum of quiet concentration. In the medieval world, workshops like this were more than places of craft. They were sanctuaries. Each night, artisans shaped not only clay, but also their minds and hearts. The act of creation in silence, under soft lamplight and moonlight, was a kind of meditation, a way to carry calm into the busy, unpredictable days. The potter slowly rises and moves to the hearth. They pick up a small piece of leftover clay from the wheel and roll it gently between their palms. It is warm, smooth, and yielding. They smile softly, remembering that each piece, no matter how small, carries the care of its maker. They set the clay aside and lean on the edge of the workbench, gazing out into the night. The field beyond the cottage is a soft expanse of silver and shadow. Dew glistens faintly on the grass. A few distant stars shimmer above, steady and patient, unchanging through the centuries. The night is deep, yet comforting. Every sound, every shadow, every flicker of moonlight feels like a gentle heartbeat, the quiet pulse of the medieval world, alive and calm. The whisper of leaves from the open window, a breeze drifts in, carrying the sound of rustling leaves. Each leaf seems to move in slow, deliberate motion, swaying with a gentle rhythm. The sound is faint, like a lullaby whispered through centuries. The potter closes their eyes, letting it mingle with the quiet hum of the hearth and the soft memory of the spinning wheel. They can almost hear the clay responding to the night, the soft shifting of moisture as it sets, the faint creak as it cools. The vessel they shape tonight seems to exhale a tiny sigh, joining the chorus of calm around them. You, listening now, may begin to notice the same gentle rhythm, breath aligning with the night, heartbeat syncing with the hush of the workshop, muscles loosening, thoughts softening, mind drifting. The potter bends slightly to lift a tiny cup from the shelf, a cup made just the week before. They touch the rim lightly, feeling its smoothness, its cool surface, its quiet perfection. And in the stillness, they whisper, "May this bring warmth to whoever holds it tomorrow." Their words are barely audible, yet in the quiet of the night, they carry the same calm that fills the hut, the wheel, the clay, and now your own mind. A ritual of gratitude. The potter moves to a small table at the side of the hut. Here lie several tiny bowls filled with fresh herbs, lavender, rosemary, and sage. They are leftovers from an earlier task, but even small offerings have meaning. The potter sprinkles a few dried petals across the hearth, a subtle gesture of gratitude to the fire, the night, and the clay itself. In medieval times, it was common for artisans to leave little offerings to bless their craft, symbols of respect, patience, and care. Tonight, the potter continues that quiet tradition, smiling at the thought that even the smallest ritual carries a weight of peace. And as the herbs fall softly onto the embers, their scent curls upward, sweet, calming, soothing, mixing with the faint, earthy aroma of clay. The hut becomes a sanctuary of gentle senses, a place where sound, touch, and scent all collaborate to lull the soul toward rest. Fireside meditation, the potter returns to their stool near the wheel. They sit quietly, hands resting loosely on their knees. The ember in the hearth glows softly, casting slow-moving shadows across the walls. The wheel sits silent, a faithful companion now at rest. They close their eyes, listening to the combined orchestra of night, the hush of leaves, the whisper of distant water, the faint crackle of embers, the occasional sigh of clay cooling on the shelves. In that moment, the potter allows themselves to simply be. No shaping, no kneading, no thought of tomorrow, just the warmth, the rhythm, the presence of night. And you, drifting with each breath, may begin to feel the same calmness fill your own body, your mind softening, your limbs heavy, your heart steady, your thoughts floating like small leaves on a quiet river. Looking toward the moon, eventually, the potter rises again, not to work, but to gaze. Through the round window, they see the moon shining above the village, bright and serene. Its reflection dances faintly on the river beyond, creating a soft trail of silver light. They reach out, hand brushing against the windowsill, and smile. It is a moment of connection between the earth, the clay, the fire, and the sky. A moment that feels eternal, yet fleeting. Like the fragile beauty of each vessel they shape. In the hush of that night, they whisper a quiet farewell to the moon. Thank you for your guidance, for your light, for your gentle presence. And the night seems to respond with a stillness deeper than before, an embrace that folds around the hut, around the village, around you. Preparing for sleep, the potter moves slowly, deliberately, to extinguish the lantern. Its glow dims to a warm flicker, then disappears entirely. The only remaining light comes from the moon, streaming softly through the window. They stretch one last time, allowing the warmth of the hearth and the gentle chill of night to balance their body perfectly. Hands rest in their lap, eyes soft and half-closed, breath falling into a slow, steady rhythm. And now, in this quiet, moonlit space, the hut itself seems to whisper a lullaby. The wheel rests, the clay rests, the potter rests, and you, listening, may feel your own eyes grow heavy. Your muscles sink into comfort, your mind drift, your thoughts dissolve into the calm, slow heartbeat of the night. The potter leans back slightly in their stool, hands resting lightly on their knees. The night has deepened. The moon has shifted slightly in the sky, spilling a silver ribbon across the wooden floor. The hearth glows faintly with the last warmth of embers, soft and comforting, as though the fire itself is breathing slowly, in rhythm with the potter and the spinning wheel now at rest. Outside, the village sleeps fully. Even the river beyond the hut seems to flow more slowly, its murmuring blending with the gentle rustle of leaves and the occasional distant croak of a frog. Everything is softened, as if the world itself has exhaled and settled into a gentle dream. The potter's eyes close, and their thoughts drift like the cool air moving through the open window. They remember other nights, long ago, when they were just beginning to learn the wheel, when clay seemed unyielding and the rhythm of the wheel foreign. The hands that now move so confidently had once trembled, pressed too hard, or released too soon. But every night, under the same moon, had taught patience, rhythm, and trust. And tonight, those lessons echo again, softly, quietly, carrying with them the gentle reassurance that every moment, every breath, every small movement of the hand, the wheel, and the clay is enough. The whisper of clay, the potter stretches a hand toward the nearest vessel on the shelf. Fingers brush against the smooth surface, tracing its curves in slow, deliberate motion. Even dry, the clay seems to hold a memory of moonlight, water, and careful hands. It is as if the vessel remembers the shaping process, remembers the hush of the night, remembers the potter's breath. In medieval belief, some artisans held that clay could retain quiet energy from the hands that worked it. This was not magic exactly, but a soft truth, a gentle awareness that careful attention leaves its mark. The potter smiles at this thought and allows their fingers to linger, feeling the subtle warmth left behind. And as you listen, you may feel the same subtle warmth in your own hands, a soft reminder that gentle attention to clay, to breath, to thought, to yourself is enough. Embers and silence, the fire in the hearth has dimmed to small embers now. They glow faintly, a soft, deep red, pulsating gently as if breathing. The potter watches them, mesmerized by their calm, steady light. Occasionally, a spark drifts upward, then fades. Tiny, delicate bursts of warmth and motion in the quiet dark. They breathe with the rhythm of the embers. Inhale, a tiny spark. Exhale, a gentle fade. The wheel hums in memory only, silent now, yet its rhythm seems to linger in the air, joining with the faint crackle of remaining embers and the whispers of the wind outside. Everything in the hut has a soft pulse tonight. The clay, the moonlight, the quiet beating of the potter's heart. Everything moves in unison, slow and soothing. Steady, calm, unhurried, peaceful. A breath of night, the potter rises once more, slowly, deliberately, and moves to the open doorway. The cool night air drifts in brushing across the skin, carrying scents of damp grass, wild thyme, and distant forest. It feels gentle, cleansing, a soft contrast to the warmth of the hut. They stand for a long moment, letting the breeze brush through their hair. Let it fill their lungs. Let it carry away any remaining tension. The moon's light touches the earth, the river, and the tops of the trees, creating silver patterns on the grass. The village is asleep beneath it, silent, soft, calm. The potter lifts their gaze to the stars, each one faintly twinkling in the infinite night sky. They remember an old medieval tale that stars were the eyes of ancestors, watching over the living, guiding travelers and artisans alike. And though the potter is alone tonight, they feel the presence of these quiet guardians, observing and whispering their calm blessing. A gentle reflection. Slowly, the potter returns to the stool, folding their hands in their lap. They reflect on the night's work, not with judgment or expectation, but with gentle acknowledgement. Each vessel shaped tonight carries a memory of care, a touch of moonlight, a whisper of peace. Each one will one day hold warmth, nourishment, or small comforts for someone in the village. And in that, the potter finds contentment, quiet, deep satisfaction that does not need words. The wheel rests, the clay rests, the embers rest, and the potter rests. And now, as you listen, you may begin to feel your own body resting in the same way. Heaviness spreading through your limbs, calm filling your mind, a soft warmth settling into your chest. Every breath brings more relaxation, more softness, more comfort. Closing the workshop at last, the potter moves to the final task of the night. A small cloth is dipped in water and gently wiped across the wheel and the surrounding workspace, leaving it clean, ready for tomorrow. Every surface is touched with slow reverence. Every tool returned to its place. Every vessel safely positioned on the shelf. The soft swish of the cloth, the faint drip of water onto the floor, the subtle tap of wooden tools settling form a gentle rhythm, a last meditation of movement, quiet, deliberate, soothing. The lantern is extinguished, leaving only the soft glow of moonlight. The potter breathes deeply, feeling the stillness of the hut, the calm of the night, the quiet satisfaction of work complete. And as you listen, the same stillness can fill your own mind. The same calm can settle into your chest, and the same quiet warmth can wash through every part of you. Drifting toward sleep, the potter sits back one final time, eyes half closed, listening to the soft hum of night, the river's distant murmur, the rustling leaves, the faint crackle of dying embers. Their body sinks into comfort, their breath slows, their mind floats, and the hush of the medieval night cradles them fully. The wheel, the clay, the moon, and the stars join in a soft symphony of calm, and you, listening, may feel as though you are part of it. Breath moving with breath, heartbeat, stillness with stillness, floating, drifting, slowly, gently, toward deep, restorative sleep. The potter sits quietly in the moonlight, hands resting in their lap, breathing in the calm night air one last time. The wheel has stopped. The clay rests. The hearth has cooled to gentle embers, glowing faintly like tiny, sleepy fireflies. The moonlight drifts over the shelves of carefully shaped vessels, each one holding a trace of patience, care, and quiet intention. Outside, the stars watch silently, their faint twinkle, steady, comforting, eternal. The potter whispers a small, private blessing. May these hands, these vessels, and this night bring peace to all who encounter them. And with that, they settle fully into stillness, the night cradling them, the moon guarding their rest. And the gentle rhythm of the medieval world wrapping around the little hut, as soft as a lullaby. And now, as you listen, the quiet flows into you. The calm fills your body. Your thoughts slow. Your breathing deepens, and you drift gently, peacefully into sleep. The wheels hum, the clay's memory, the moon's silver glow, all linger softly in your mind, in your dreams, and a night keeps you safe, slow, and calm until morning arrives. Good night. If you enjoy drifting through the quiet night with the potter and felt the calm of moonlight and spinning clay, please subscribe to my channel so we can share many more soft, peaceful stories together. Every subscription helps this little corner of calm grow and brings more soothing moments to anyone who needs them. Thank you for listening, for being here, and for letting your mind rest with us tonight.